Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Applause. My name is Graham Day, and this majestic haired beauty is the man that we call Baby. I'll read, Bib.
Oh, yes, I need to sort this fucking banner out. I mean, from one side here, it looks okay, but as soon as I look towards the camera, you can see the massive kink in the right-hand side of my area, and it's just not a good look.
Sorry, I'll just put you full screen just to help with the situation.
A hat will not be able to sort this abomination out at this point in time. I think it'll grow through it. So, yeah, it needs sorting out big time.
Oh, that's not what I wanted on the screen. Let's get rid of that. Sharing the news articles before we're even to the news. God. Anyway, welcome and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Applause. My name is Graham Day, as I've just mentioned, and this is Bibby's hair. As well as Bibby. Hey! This is me padding because I've just lost what I had on the screen. There we go, back. But anyway, welcome in. It's 10 a.m-ish. It's actually not too bad for us. 10:37. No. Usually it's getting close to 11. But do you know what? It's not bad. As you can tell from Bibby's yawn, he was up early, brightly and sprightly, ready to go. So
yeah, I thought, you know what? I'll get an early night, and when I wake up in the morning, I'll be nice and fresh. I had a semi-early-ish night. About 11:30, I went to bed. Woke up at 8. Felt okay. As soon as the cameras go on, that's it. Started yawning all over it, Gaff.
At 2 o'clock this morning, me and Danielle thought maybe we'd turn those back off and go to bed, yeah?
Is she off today?
No.
Oh my God. What a hero.
Yeah, she starts work at like 7-ish, so she's an absolute machine.
Oh, she's having a dinner time nap.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. As mentioned for the third time, my name is Graham. This is Bib, and we together are Ice Cream Uploads. And in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. We bring you the biggest, the best, and the breaking video game stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on the words. Actually, I've missed a bit. You can tell it's Monday morning. We give you our thoughts and impressions, and then we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. A lot of thoughts and impressions, but we got there eventually. And it's important that you do give us your thoughts and impressions because we are live, as I mentioned, on Twitch, but we turn this into an on-demand podcast in video form on YouTube and audio form on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are in the chat, you are the only people to get to influence the live conversation, so make sure you get involved. If you are on YouTube though, then feel free to use the comments just below the video. We do scan through those and respond to the comments in there. So hi, if you're on YouTube, hi. But anyway, before we jump into the news, what did you get up to, Bib, on the weekend? I'm gonna guess.
Go on, hazard a guess.
I'm gonna guess it involves long patches of grass and long sticks. I'm going to say you played lacrosse.
No, and I also didn't walk any dogs. But yeah, it literally just spent the weekend playing golf as per. Nothing much. I didn't really play that many games. I mean, I played 6 or 7 Master League matches last night on my own Fulham save.
67.
Yeah, 67. I know. It was back to back. I finished it this morning. I finished my season this morning just before we went live, and I finished in the playoff spot. So I'll have to continue that at some point. But yeah, I literally hardly played games this weekend, which is it's not normal, but I've been out of the house. So I walked 6 miles around the golf course. Well, 5 or 6 miles yesterday around the golf course.
Nice.
It was 9k. So, and that's to be fair, that was a full 18, and I didn't even I lost 3 balls, and it wasn't the case of I shot over there. I didn't. It was just, it feels like the longest I've ever walked around the golf course, and I've done many 18 holes before, but I don't understand why it felt so long.
Because you've done a few now, your legs are just like, okay, novelty's worn off now. Can we get back to real sports?
I've just realised why it felt like I walked more, because usually I've got one of them, Huawei watches, and you can put the GPS logger and stuff like that, but I usually put it inside my golf bag, but I drop my golf bag usually at like the end of the hole, so I don't have to carry my bag all the way around. But yesterday I did it because my watch had died. My phone was in my back pocket, so it would have counted every step rather than fit 30 out of 100. So that makes sense. It's just literally just come to my head as I was thinking about it then.
Yeah, well, I did hardly any steps this weekend. I usually plough through all of the steps. Last week I was 50 odd bajillion steps. This week I think I did my 10k steps in 4 out of the 7 days or something like that. So it's not better than it usually is, but not up to scratch. But fuck it.
Did you play anything this weekend?
Guess what I played?
Did it involve level 3 helmets?
Well, I was playing it, so I am a level 3 helmet. Yes, that was pretty much all I played. PUBG. I don't even think I played anything else but PUBG this weekend. I wasn't intensive with my gaming this weekend, to be fair. I jumped on, did my dailies and stuff, and did a few extra, but then it was more just like plowing through TV series. We're just about to finish season 2 of Ozark on Netflix, which is good. But yeah, that was about it. Should we jump into some news?
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are here for, aren't they? So I suppose so.
Well, it's more. I'm more thinking like, I mean, a lot of people are here for the news, but also a lot of people are here for Master of the League, which follows the news. And if we get through the news, then we get onto the Master of the League. So let's do that. The first news story of the day, which you will have seen if you'd have seen our Go Live tweet, is that Animal Crossing is no longer the best-selling game on the Nintendo eShop. Dun, dun, dun. Written by Cian Maher for VG247, this article says, Animal Crossing New Horizons was recently knocked off its perch as the best-selling game on the Nintendo eShop. After holding its position as top dog since it launched in March, Animal Crossing New Horizons was finally usurped by the recently released Minecraft Dungeons, which is now the #1 best-selling game on Nintendo eShop. This doesn't come as much as a surprise given the global ubiquity of Minecraft as a franchise. I was like, what's he saying here? So let me say that again. This doesn't come as much as a surprise given the global ubiquity of Minecraft as a franchise. The news was widely shared on Twitter, where a variety of parties dissected the development of an almost 3-month run on top finally being put to an end. Do you know what? I'll read the embedded tweet, although they're usually in the article as well. At Benji Sales says, Minecraft Dungeons has ended Animal Crossing's run as the best-selling game on the US eShop. Animal Crossing New Horizons had been #1 since early March. That's 3 months of dominance. As we are seeing on Xbox, Minecraft Dungeons is performing very strong and is now #1 on Switch. It is actually just there as well. So if you're curious about Minecraft Dungeons, be sure to check out our Minecraft Dungeons review. There's nothing wrong with a little nostalgia, but even by the time I'd faced down the Arch-Illager in his tower, no more than a handful of hours after starting, I was already sick of redstone golem mini-bosses, and Dungeons seemed to have exhausted its borrowed ideas, wrote Jeremy Pugh in his review. Like Diablo, this game is designed for multiple playthroughs on increasing difficulties, but few players will feel compelled to return to a scene that's all dried up after a single day's exploration. Having played it myself, I can't help but agree. If you're currently trying your hand at Minecraft Dungeons, though, and you have found yourself stuck, fret not. We've compiled several guides to help you along your way. Here's how to beat the heart of Ender in Minecraft Dungeons, and here's how you can take on redstone monstrosities and golems. So yeah, I always... stuff like that grates on me. I mean, I completely get what that is, and what I'm saying is, I'm ignoring the fact that Minecraft Dungeons is #1 for the moment. I'm just purely looking at this article. It's saying they're basically saying it's not a good game, but then obviously they jump straight into, but we want your clicks and your time spent on our page for it. So yeah, we hate this game, but we want to. It's not even like we want to help you. It's a lack of disguise in there. It's more like okay, just click through, read our articles, watch our stuff. I mean, it's crap, but we've done it anyway for the monies. Good morning, Shogun Ash live. Not what I said the other day. Yo, he says, how's things? Laugh?
Morning, geese.
Shogun. Do you know it's so difficult for me to say Shogun Ash because I've got like Shogun FC ingrained into my head whenever I'm on camera, because I think it's like, let's take the news off the screen, because like when we've had Score Against Cancers and things like that, and it's always like Score Against Cancer with Shogun FC, pow 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 pow, and now it's almost like if someone goes someone else has to go or whatever. It's like someone says Shogun, I go FC. It's just there. So even though there's no FC anymore, you're always kind of like Shogun FC. For those of you who don't know, for the OG, Shogun Ash used to be Shogun FC before he got all serious and rebranded in it.
It's just a long-term brand recognition, and it has established that brand as Shogun FC, but he's changed his own name, so you will be forever known as Shogun FC, unfortunately for you.
LOAO, such a serious rebrand. Well, it is, just not on PSN, where it's Show Weapon because you're not allowed to have the word gun in your title, which is ridiculous. But there you go. That's actually something we're talking about on shows. Was it on here? Was it on here?
It was on air last week, yeah.
Yeah. I thought thinking it was when I was signing shows. Smoothing
Was it a PSN name or something like that?
Yeah. GG PSN. But move away from PSN back to Nintendo. Animal Crossing no longer the #1 best-selling game in Nintendo eShop. Do you know? It doesn't surprise me when you've got a game like Minecraft Dungeons. Will Minecraft Dungeons stay there for as long? I don't actually know what the release window is looking like for Switch. Good morning, Chucky. What does that say, babe?
Hello.
There we go. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's being used by Minecraft Dungeons. Whether Minecraft Dungeons will stick it, I'm not sure for a couple of reasons. If I go back to the article and bring this up on screen, so Benji Sales' tweet shows bestsellers #1 Minecraft Dungeons, #2 Animal Crossing. But looking at the prices, Animal Crossing $59.99, Minecraft Dungeons $19.99. That's a huge difference. It's like 1/3 of the price of Animal Crossing. So either that could stay at #1 forever because it's cheap and people go, 20 quid, jobs are good and bosh. Or it'll be a case of, okay, well, 20 quid, everyone splurges at once. It has a huge peak and then nobody's interested in it whatsoever. But Animal Crossing has that replayability factor that Minecraft Dungeons, I mean, like the article talks about it being sort of like, was it Diablo-esque, where you play through, you play it harder and harder and harder. That's what she said. But Animal Crossing is more about building something, sustaining it, and maintaining it over time, which has the replayability factor, which keeps people talking about it, which inspires more people to play it. So I could see Minecraft Dungeons. I mean, it could go either way. I could see it being like a flash in a pan, a boom, and gone, because it's not like it doesn't have that open-ended sort of play style that Minecraft original does or Animal Crossing does. Yeehaw! I'm just excited, and I'm not reading out anyone's name in the chat. I'm just saying yeehaw. Yeehaw! Good morning, mate. Well done. I hope he's well. Yeah, all good.
Yes, mate, thank you very much.
So what were you saying then?
I was just about to say, I think if it was Minecraft 2, I think they'd probably have half a chance in having the longevity, because Minecraft is massive, in it. I don't know if you know this, but Minecraft is massive.
No,
it might be new news to some people, but yeah, because it was available on every single platform. I don't think it's a very good game, Minecraft Onions. I just don't think that
Sonic's a Minecraft Onions.
Yeah, Minecraft Onions is a very good game, but Minecraft Dungeons I don't think has the longevity of it, because it's very, unless you was into top-down dungeon crawlers, I probably don't think that this will entertain you for that long. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to have the longevity to keep Animal Crossing out for that long, because Animal Crossing, everyone can play it, from little toddlers all the way up to fully grown adults. But Minecraft Dungeons, I don't think it's for everyone. Not everyone likes Diablo kind of games. I mean, people would have picked it up just to try it, because it's got the word Minecraft in there, which is a very smart move by the Minecraft lads and lasses over there that created a game to potentially bring in the younger audience to dungeon crawlers. I don't think I played a dungeon crawler till I was probably 12 or 13, because it didn't really interest me, and I can't remember even what game it would have been. It potentially probably was Diablo back on the PS1. Even after the PS2 came out, it's just one of the games, well, as you know, collective games, you know what I mean, PS1. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, it's just one of them things. Having the name Minecraft into a game like that potentially will entice the younger audience into play it, but I don't think they'll play it for that long unless they absolutely enjoy it. But it's not a Minecraft game at heart, so it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts for. But I do think Animal Crossing will go back to #1 again fairly soon.
Yeah, I expect so as well. Show says, is there anything that continuously charts games based on playtime? Good question. I don't think there is. I know there's you can see that Steam. What's it called? There's basically a tracker that shows you how many concurrent players there are on Steam, but or what the peak current players are from that day. But I think the closest maybe you can get to that is probably from a viewing perspective, using things like Sully Gnome and so on. But yeah, I'm not sure if there is something that actually monitors the number of hours played. For that, you kind of need access to data from first parties, but they are quite protective of that. I don't think Sony give that much detail, or Microsoft, or Nintendo. Or the publishers could do that, but quite often publishers don't want to give out that information as well, because showing information either shows you as well, they're worried that it shows you that you're weaker than you are, because obviously there's smoke and mirrors with marketing. It's look at how good we are, and it's look at all the people playing. Look inside this small window and see all the people. And you look through this small window and it's like shit, loads of people in there. But then you actually dig inside and you realise there's 5 people just stood in front of the window, and then there's no one else in the back of the room. It's like, so it's that smoke and mirrors sort of element. Quite a lot of data like that isn't accessible. Enix says, hello, just got back. Minecraft Dungeons at #1 spot. Same with the Sea of Thieves. Microsoft is doing bits with their titles now. Is Microsoft doing the Sea of Thieves stuff? Or is it content creators? Because I know Sea of Thieves had a massive spike entirely based on Summit 1G. And I know Summit's been playing it again. So is he playing it in response to something they've done? Or is he just playing it because he likes it and his community like it, and it's being successful of that? He made Sea of Thieves like have a second burst kind of thing entirely on his own. He inspired a lot of other people to. I mean, that's obviously the way it works with content creation. Look at what the big guys are doing. You'll see a spike in that category. More people chasing the views. Play what they're playing, and you get views. Jobs are good at them. So
I'd love to see what the sales for Skyrim was like this morning, because I said I've been up since about 8:15 this morning. So playing Master League while watching Summit play Skyrim this morning for like the last hour and a half or so. I'd love to see how many people would have actually picked it up, because everyone was just doing exclamation mark mods, hoping to see what kind of mods. I don't think he had the command for it, but it was modded, because there was a lot of things in there that are completely different from the vanilla version on PC. So I'd like to see how many people would have converted to buying Skyrim this morning after watching him play it, because I think there was about 35,000 people watching him play it, and I can guarantee a lot of people probably that are watching him haven't played it before. And it's cheap enough. I think it's less than £5 to pick it up on PC.
Bargain.
So so I'll be interested to see what the influx of people now playing Skyrim would be like compared to maybe yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, he's been playing Skyrim for pretty much most of the weekend, if not all day yesterday as well. Because I we usually watch Twitch in between, say, Netflix shows and so on. We don't watch much TV anymore. And naturally, the Twitch app, we watch at Twitch. Basically, my Xbox is my Twitch provider. So my Xbox One S is hooked up to my TV, which I can control with my remote. So I go to my Xbox source, and I can fully control, turn on, turn off my Xbox with my TV remote. So ta-da, I don't even need to touch my Xbox controller, which is good because it's up here for when we play Masters of the League. Jobs are good. But Twitch is sort of obviously top down, so naturally I turn it on, and it might be Dr. Disrespect, Tim the Tapman, or Summit 1G are usually in the first things there. And yeah, he's been playing Skyrim all weekend, so I would like. I agree. It's similar what I touched on with Sea of Thieves. It would be good to see how much impact they can have. Not on. I hate the phrase "dead games" because that's such a shit phrase. That's a I'm an edgy internet knobhead phrase. It's a dead game. It's a dead game. Do you mean you don't play that game? Okay, nice. All right then. But yeah, I'd like to see how channels of that size have impacts on reviving dead games, so to speak. Gutted I missed the Cyberpunk 2077 edition of the One X. Don't tell me you'd be interested in buying a new One X right now. After we're having a conversation about the Last of Us the PS4 Pro, and you're like, it's a bit stupid to buy it now. But it's an Xbox now! It's the updates. He quit for ages, even after 3 expansions, and the player base was still growing. Yeah, the player base was growing because of the exposure and stuff that he gave to it. The game was pretty much stagnant. So even though there was updates and so on, all sorts of games have updates, but he helped revive it and kick it off. Not that it hasn't kicked off since he helped revive it. But yeah, if it is just the updates that's creating an upsurge now, I mean, I say an upsurge, I haven't seen anything, so it can't be that big of an upsurge, because it's, until you mentioned it, I didn't realise there was an upsurge with Sea of Thieves, so it must be a Microsoft-centric thing. Did you know there was an upsurge in Sea of Thieves?
I mean, I've never really been into Sea of Thieves, so the player base and the numbers around it, I've never really looked out for, but not really, no. I mean, Sea of Thieves is now on Steam. I don't when did it come out on Steam? Was it maybe 2 weeks ago? So I imagine the player base would have increased quite a bit by then. But whether or not they're able to maintain it, I don't know.
I just with the Microsoft doing bits with their titles now. Doing bits would be taking over the market. If the titles are doing well, that's a different thing. So they're definitely doing bits with Minecraft Dungeons, but Minecraft Dungeons it has the Minecraft moniker. It will do bits anyway. If you don't do bits with it, then you are severely doing wrong. So that's kind of you'd expect. But the Sea of Thieves stuff, I mean, I wouldn't say they're doing bits. I'd say that Sea of Thieves is doing well for itself, but it's not really stepping outside of its boundaries in that sort of sense. Shaw says, Pez used to show how many players were playing at the time in my club. Is that a good or a bad move? I have my opinion on that, by the way. It depends. It depends. I'm all for transparency, but transparency has positive and negative connotations, or not necessarily positive and negative, but it does have multiple. That action will have multiple reactions. So you show how many people are playing right now. That's good because it shows people an idea of they can, after they've played it and they know, say if there's 10,000 people or there's 100,000 people on, they might get a gist of what waiting queues are going to be like, or how good the gameplay is going to be if you get matched with other people. So you can start to gauge that. So I feel it from that perspective is a good point, but it's also quite negative because it can also make your game look weak, and that is often what kills a lot of games online. A lot of people, and the core or the hardcore or the dedicated players, a lot of people are fad players, and you will see it with anything from Pokemon Go, wherever my mobile is, through to whatever the top game is on Steam. A lot of people play the games that other people are playing because other people are playing them, because it's the fad, the trend, the fashion. So if you start seeing a game that doesn't have very many players, a lot of people could go like, well, it looked good, but I'm not going to play it because nobody else is playing it. And I mean, obviously that matters for multiplayer, but if it's a one-on-one multiplayer, then you only need one other person to be online, technically. But yeah, the downside of having the numbers there will make people go, okay, well, there's only 1,200 people playing. It's just come out. This is shit. This is rubbish. I'll stop playing it. Nobody likes it. People take that often as a barometer for a game's success, and the number of other people playing it shouldn't define whether you enjoy it or not. That should be totally down to yourself. You are?
Radicalites. The greatest battle royale there ever was. And unfortunately, it's no longer. And I can pretty much guarantee that Graham is probably playing the tune over what I'm talking now.
No, he's not.
See, I can't hear it, but I know for a fact that you are.
I may have been dancing. Dancing. You never know. Anyway. What are your thoughts on showing how many players are playing at a time? Then, show. You said you have your opinion. What's your opinion on that one? Enix says, but it was £250 for the custom controller, Cyberpunk, plus the first DLC expansion of 3 months of Game Pass. I mean, that is a bargain if you don't have a console. It's also a bargain if you feel like Cyberpunk will be your jam. I mean, I had to add in feel like, because you can't really say, oh, Cyberpunk is me, when you've never played it or anything. So imagine being, like, putting it out there that you are Cyberpunk super fan and then playing it after you've bought the console and you've bought the jacket with the light up collar and everything else, and you play it and you think, oh, that's a bit shit for me. You'd be just like, don't! So The Last of Us Part 2, if that was The Last of Us, yeah, fair enough, I get it. It's a first party title made by a superb dev, Naughty Dog. They've had history with, by that point, they'd had Uncharted 1, 2 and 3. So Last of Us coming out. So it's like, okay, well, this should be a good game. It looks like a good game, but you wouldn't bet your house on The Last of Us being amazing. Some probably would though. But now The Last of Us has come out and Last of Us 2's come out. You're like, okay, well, I can invest in that history then for that console because I've got memories with it. But that much on a new IP at the end of a generation kind of makes me think, it's not for me. I understand if it was. If you're a Witcher fan, maybe, and you've got history with CD Projekt Red, in the same way that you could buy the what was it called, the Kojima game? It's completely gone out of my mind now.
Death Stranding.
That's it, yeah. So I can understand buying the Death Stranding console because you may like Kojima's artistic direction. You've got history with Kojima, so you're investing in Kojima, not so much the title. It's a bit more difficult to do that with Cyberpunk. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. People have their own opinions. You may go, actually, do you know what? I've seen enough to think that it will resonate with me forever. Or you may base it on the CD Projekt or whatever. But yeah, I mean, whilst it is good getting 3 months of Game Pass, where was it you said? Custom controller, Cyberpunk, plus the DLC, plus 3 months of Game Pass. I mean, do you need another controller if you've got an Xbox already? Do you need the Xbox if you've got an Xbox already? If not, take those away, and you're probably getting about 60 to 80 quid's worth of stuff for £250, and that's the kind of the way that you have to look at it as a balance kind of thing. I wouldn't have got it. I will obviously keep my mind open when it comes to Cyberpunk, and I will play the game, but I don't have enough of an anchor, an emotional anchor to time me to spending £250 or something. I don't know at this point in a product generation. But like I say, each their own. I mean, if somebody wants to go out, I mean, whether it was a custom Xbox or a custom PlayStation or whatever, I still wouldn't buy it. The same way that I'm a big fan of The Last of Us, but I won't be investing in The Last of Us PS4 Pro. I've got a PS4 Pro that's less than a year old, so I don't need another one. But that's purely from a technical, not an emotional tie-in standpoint. And it says they should show player numbers. Worst thing is buying a game to play the multiplayer and it's dead and no community. Yeah, it's a good question, is that? Shaw says, I thought it was good at launch when it had 250,000 on at any given time, but then it was used to feed into the negatives around the game when it inevitably dropped off and fell off a cliff edge. Kind of shoots yourself foot in that point. I'd only show it if it was above a certain number in game. That said, I do like the idea of that transparency.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't show the number after a certain amount, then people just make assumptions anyway. I mean, it doesn't show the number now, but if people can't find a game after a minute or two, then they'll just make their own mind up about it anyway. So I don't think there is a winnable way for developers to be able to show how many people potentially are playing the game. People will make their minds up regardless, even if it did show it. There could be 250,000 people being shown within a game, but if you can't find a game quick enough, then yeah, it's just one of them things. But like using PES as an example, if there's 100,000 people playing, there may be 80,000 people playing 5-star, 10,000 people playing match day, 5,000 people playing just normal divisions, and then the others playing 1, 2, or 3-star. But no one ever takes that kind of thing into consideration. It's just I can't find a game, but they might be playing a different game mode. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Is from a PES only perspective, only the hardcore PES players are playing 1, 2, and 3-star. The general community out there will not be playing 1, 2, or 3-star, and that doesn't even need any backing other than look at every football blog, look at every news article, look at every be it Bleacher Report or whatever. They talk about the Messi or Ronaldo or the Real Madrids or whatever of the world. They don't talk about Burton Albion and things like that because it doesn't sell. Look at ITV Digital; it went bust because it invested in On Digital, which paid the rights for the football league, and all the hardcore football fans of the world, the hardcore, were like, yeah, I'll watch any team sport. There wasn't enough of them to sustain On Digital or ITV Digital or the football league, so all of that money fell out, which nearly made the football league collapse because there isn't enough. It's nice from a purist's perspective, and I'm on board with that myself personally, but that's not what sells the games. In terms of people don't buy a game to play with maybe 1, 2 black ball players in the team. People don't put that money into my club to get black ball players to not use them. And I get the reason why it is being done, but the reason you're not finding games is because people don't want that generally. People want to play with the Messis and Ronaldos, and they want to have those highlight moments. It's like, yeah, Champions League versus Championship. Which one? If someone says you can watch one, which one are you going to watch? I know obviously there's going to be some Championship fans out there that are going to be like, yeah, absolutely would love to watch Burton Albion, but yeah. Excuse me 1 second. Bibbing. What I said in the Qatar talk, casual gamers take up 60-70% of the games. Esports and competitive is a very small amount. It is, and that's the danger of having an esports-led brand. A lot of brands have found that having an esports-led brand or creating a brand for esports is dangerous because esports doesn't necessarily translate to casual gaming, to core gaming. It's a good centerpiece, and it highlights what people can do at the top of their game. But yeah, exactly, you alienate the casual. Some people don't like not necessarily the mindset and the competitive gameplay that goes into it. Some people just don't like the mechanics of competitive gameplay. Even PUBG, for example. I'm actually a fan of the esports modes in PUBG. They have faster circles, they have better loot and things like that. But that alienates some of the RNG into it. But I'm at the point where I've got good at the game. A lot of people will dislike PUBG's esports mechanics. They actually put them in the game for a short period of time, but they instantly reverted it because most of the casual players didn't want it. They wanted the idea of you might land in a building with someone of Dr. Disrespect's ability, but he finds a pan, and you find yourself like an AK and a fucking M4. So you're like, brah! You get to kill someone that's better than you because of the RNG. And that's the thing. A lot of casual gamers like the RNG because that's why they play Battle Royale versus multiplayer, because it's not skill versus skill. It's skill and luck versus skill and luck, and placement, which is also based on luck. So there's a lot of luck in the game, which means shit players can win, which is why it's good. But then to make that into an esport, you have to balance that, which is why, yeah, that's where having the esports led doesn't necessarily lead to the best for the full audience. Cough, lawbreakers. Rip. Perhaps Konami could put more emphasis on 1 to 3 star games in the month, so people have more incentive to play and be exposed to that mode in the first month. I completely agree. I think from my perspective, I would have that as the obviously you've got the verse computer and the verse player online kind of modes, and you get those what are they called? I forgot. I've got the word missions in head, or challenges, just because of fucking PUBG. But like the weekly challenges, is that what they're actually called? I think that's what they're called. So the stuff like that, challenge cups. Yeah, I mean stuff like that. That is where it should be. And having stuff that's like almost stepping into the realms. And bear with me, I could be getting the wrong phrases here because I don't play FIFA. Or I have it, but I've played it, but I don't play it often. Getting into the realms of SBCs, as from what I understand, and this could be completely wrong, but I'll just give you my explanation so I can go with the narrative. Is an SBC is squad builder challenge, so you have to build a squad based on a specific thing. So it might be a Premiership squad or whatever. So having a 3-star SBC-esque challenge cup where you've got to build a team of Spanish players. From that's a 3-star team, Bosch, or a team of at least 3 Spanish players, or something. I mean, having a team of Spanish players might be difficult. Some people might have transferred all their players to level their players up and or turn them into trainers or EXP trainers or whatever. But having that level of stuff, I think that's where it could be introduced, because that way you give people the ability to use the 1, 2, and 3 for the balance, and then you whet the appetite for the rest of the community. But that way they can still then go, actually, that was nice playing with Titus Bramble up front, even though he's a centre back, but he's the only one that I had left that was from the English leagues or whatever. That gives them a bit of that, but then they can still go, okay, I've done that now, and I'm going back into my full-on Messi Ronaldo fest, because like I say, 60 to 70% of people are the casual gamers, and that's what they would want. So yeah, that's the way I would go with that. But anyway, that's absolutely nothing to do with Animal Crossing, so what a tangent we went on then. Let's jump into the next bit of news. Let's fly far away from both Pro Evolution Soccer and Animal Crossing as we jump into news about Valorant, written by Vikki Blake for Eurogamer. Riot is prototyping Valorant on consoles, but only if it's certain the port can deliver the experience. We're not entirely sure Valorant translates completely to console play, says the tagline. It's only been out on PC for a few days, but already Riot Games is exploring the possibilities of bringing its new shooter Valorant to consoles. In an interview with GameSpot, however, executive producer Anna Donlan admitted porting to consoles wasn't the focus out of the gate, but if Riot feels like it can deliver this experience on these platforms, it absolutely will, providing it can maintain a strong level of competitive integrity. We are definitely prototyping that right now, Donlan told the site, but there's a way to play this game and there's a way to experience this game that we're not entirely sure translates completely to console play. If we feel like we can deliver this experience on those platforms, we absolutely will, Donlan added, but we really want Valorant to stand for a certain type of gameplay and a certain type of experience. It's not a no for sure, Donlan explained, admitting that some of the devs are very excited to explore the idea of bringing Valorant on consoles, but it definitely wasn't the focus out of the gate. If we were to do it, it'll definitely be delayed. Valorant's closed beta pulled in 3 million daily players, although we'll have to wait to see how Valorant's players' numbers measure up to other big titles such as Fortnite and Minecraft post-launch, of course. Valorant's popularity on Twitch is hardly surprising, as Emma recently reported Riot has encouraged close ties between the two from the start, handing out beta keys to players once they'd linked their Riot and Twitch accounts and watched specific Valorant streams. Everyone being stuck in lockdown has probably helped both player numbers and stream views quite a bit. Twitch's overall viewership grew by 99% year on year to 1.5 billion hours watched in April, of which Valorant was responsible for 334 million. Bib, thoughts?
I mean, I think it will potentially, even though it will be a free-to-play game, I think it will definitely scratch the itch for people who want competitive FPS on their consoles. CSGO, way back when, had their CSGO game on the original Xbox, and then I'm 95% sure it got moved over to the Xbox 360 as well. I don't know how popular it was on those, because obviously the esports side of things would have been on the PC. But I mean, yeah, the people have been gagging to play this, and not everyone has. Shit, just knocked everything off my desk. Yeah, I just knocked everything off my desk with a big gangly elbow.
Not everyone has a shit by the way. Yep.
Not everyone has a top tier PC to be able to play this on. So I think bringing this to let everybody play it, whether or not it focuses on the esports side, just on PC and just letting people play casually on the PlayStation, I don't know if that would be the best move. But I mean, there will be a player base who will be an absolute god on the controller, on the sticks. We've seen esports being played in FPSs using controllers before now, so I don't see why this can't go the same way as those have.
Yeah. I think having esports on console, from an FPS point of view, that's pretty much where Call of Duty was focused. I don't know if is it still focused? So now with the franchised, I don't even know what it's called now. Is it called Call of Duty League as opposed to COD World League? So is that on PC now, or is that still console focused? So whether it is or isn't, COD has been up until very recently, if not still now, being console focused. On there they go, console PS4 says Jordan.
Yeah.
So we have seen that. However, the differences, like when you see pros playing Call of Duty, they make it seem like it's down to a hair. Like the accuracy, all you need to do is see a hair of someone. Excuse me. All you need to do is see a hair of someone. Boom, dead. Bang. However, that is actually how it works on Valorant. All you need to do is just see the tip of someone sticking around a wall, and then bang, bang. That's it. You're dead. Gone. So yeah, I'm not sure that it could be the same experience. Maybe it could. Maybe I'm just biased in thinking that trying to play Valorant on console, but maybe in my head I'm pairing console players against PC players. But I don't know. For me, having played the game at a bit of a potato level, I'm not sure I'd have the same level of thrill as I would on a controller as I have a mouse and keyboard. And that's from me, who is, from my gaming, predominantly a controller player. I mean, I do play some mouse and keyboard gameplay. I'm okay. I can hold my own, but I'm not good by anyone's major imagination. But that feeling of like peeking, shooting, and ducking behind a wall, I just feel will be a bit clunkier unless you've got like hypersensitivity on your controller, which most control players will be okay with that at range. But when you get up close, that's like you see it all the time on PUBG. I've realised that when I'm playing against people on PUBG, I rush them and run around them. They just go, so then I can just shoot them in the back, kind of thing. But yeah, that's my initial worry. Do I think it will work? I'm not sure. Do I think it'll be difficult to make it work? Absolutely. Would I like to see it? 100%. I still would like to see it on consoles. And I think that's kind of the thing as well. We've seen the major esports that are PC focused kind of tend to sit on PC, but we've seen the major esports that have a multi-format spread. I mean, not necessarily just from an esports perspective, but in terms of playability, the one game that's really done that has become sort of a movement, as almost a lifestyle rather than an esport. So what I'm talking about there is obviously Jordan's put only 3 big esports on consoles: is FIFA, COD, and Halo. The one that I'm referring to is Fortnite. Obviously, I think it was played PC, the World Cup last year or whenever it was.
Yeah.
But obviously this year is a bit more open towards console and things like that. But Fortnite is accessible on your phone, on your Samsung fridge, and everything else. And that is different from a marketing perspective. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the money and the prestige in full-on esports is bigger than what Fortnite offers. So when I'm talking full-on esports, I mean things like the StarCrafts, the leagues, the Dotas, and things like that. Those are the bigger, more prestigious esports, but they don't have as many t-shirts on dodgy market stalls around the world, and that's how big Fortnite has got because it's fully accessible. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is if Riot wants to kind of push itself into the console realm, I don't see that being a bad thing. If they can take over esports on PC and become a proper accepted AAA tier esport, and also allow people in at the bottom end as well for the more casual thing, then that surely that's got to be the right way to go, right?
Yeah, say so. I mean, shows just mentioned there that the Overwatch is that still big. I think it is. I don't know if they started the second wave of it. If I'm being honest, I think it definitely did drop down in numbers, but I'm not sure if it's still as big as it was because it was massive at one point. Expand that account 1 second. And boom, bye. But yeah, I don't think it's as big as it was, and I'm sure it was played on PC as well.
I think it was. I mean, Overwatch was pretty large, particularly with the Overwatch League and so on. But yeah, we kind of covered this a while back. Once they started talking about Overwatch 2 and Overwatch being compatible with it and full blending into it, it was kind of like they were trying to make a transition between the past and the future. But it seemed to drop off. I don't know if that had something to do with it or if they've just not had any real major updates or anything to it since then. But after, like, I mean, go back 12 months, everyone's talking about Overwatch League, London Spitfire, and everyone, oh my god, a new game coming! And then now it's just like, it has fizzled out. Me and Jordan have spoken about it off stream as well, about Overwatch kind of like being a bit kaput. So yeah, is it still big? Yes. I mean, we'd be daft to say it's not. It is massive still. But is it as big as it was? No, not by any stretch. And that's where the issue is. From its own level, it has dropped off. It's still bigger than most games out there. Don't get me wrong. But still, yeah. I remember how much of a fail CSGO was on console, mind. I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of the worry, though. But that was also a very different time. Esports was an alien concept back there, and CS:GO was successful because it was esports before esports. It was difficult and ugly and clunky for the people that wanted like narrative and stuff. So I don't think the world was ready for a CS:GO on console. I think it will be more ready now. Do I think it's entirely ready? Probably not. But I think it'd have much more of a chance of succeeding now.
Do you think then, with that, having those kind of predominantly PC esports games, do you reckon then if they was able to use PC keyboard and mouse on your console and they could separate them away indefinitely from the console, from the people who use the sticks, do you reckon that would be a viable esports option? And the only reason I say that is because I know, again, it comes down to the lack of not being able to have a gaming PC that has potentially all the bells and whistles to be able to play at a competitive, angle, with it being 60 plus FPS, blah, 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 and all the crap that goes along with it. Your console, everyone on the console would be playing at the exact same thing, barring the monitor that you're going to be using. If you was to use keyboard and mouse, would that be a viable option if you was in and segregated from the rest of the pack? If you was all playing on the same thing?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's all sorts of technical issues there in terms of if you're playing on console, are they accessing the game servers, and are the game servers designed in a way that can ensure there's the same sort of level of ping disparity or server tick rate and all of the technical stuff that I'm probably butchering when I'm talking about it, to ensure that all works consistently. I think there will be technical issues in there. Plus, I think from an esports perspective, if you're playing mouse and keyboard, there's always going to be the okay, well, why don't you just get a PC kind of thing? If you're that good at mouse and keyboard, then why? It's like, do you know? Let's give me a really bad analogy. It's like when you get someone that's a singer that goes on to Britain's Got Talent, and it's like, why are you not on the X Factor? Because you're not good enough to win on the X Factor, so you're in because you've got a narrative that you want to push on Britain's Got Talent. It's different. You're in you're big fish in a little pond kind of thing.
I agree with that, but I mean, having to buy a top tier PC to be able to play. I mean, there's been stories of world class players coming through and playing on PCs that cost like £300-400. You know what I mean? It's less than the price of a brand new Xbox or PlayStation when they first get released. But I think have a good advantage, or have not even an advantage, to have a competitive level playing field, to have a good PC and everything that comes along with it, including the monitor, the peripherals, blah blah blah. You're probably looking at plus £900, over £1,000 compared to a console. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. I mean, for me, when it comes down to esports, unless you're playing a sports game, i.e. an actual sport like football and things like that, and you have to use a controller, then that's the only way that you're able to play them games. But when it comes down to FPSs and stuff like that, I would like to see them be mouse and keyboard. I think the gap between mouse and keyboard and people who play on the sticks, I think that gap is monumental. And that's no disrespect to anyone who plays, because the world's best COD players pretty much all play on the sticks. But for me, I love the fact that a mouse and keyboard seems to be the premium way of playing that. So even if there was to have the same esports competition but segregated out, very much like most, like for instance PES did, you have the Xbox players, the PC players, and the PlayStation players. Fair enough. When you got to the World Finals, you all had to play on the PlayStation, which is unfortunate for the people who play on the Xbox. But that's that's just the way it is. But having the opportunity to be able to play at a high level on your PlayStation, because you are the level playing field above everyone, then, aren't you? If you're playing on a console, because there's no way that you're able to have a better graphics card to push those frames all the way up. It's literally just one bar set across everything, not taking into consideration the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Series X HD, whatever that was called. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions again. I mean, I say this pretty much every episode of this show. I'm glad that I don't have to make these decisions, because, yeah, it's just.
I mean,
I like to see the fairness across the board when it comes to stuff like that.
There's definitely a skill gap for mouse and keyboard in terms of well, not a skill gap, a learning curve. So it's easy to be good, it's hard to be excellent, and it's the same sort of thing with consoles. I think the reason mouse and keyboard generally is more competitive is because a mouse and keyboard player could usually kill a console player, purely because you have more dexterity in terms of using multiple fingers and using wrist movements versus a thumb movement. Most people don't have the dexterous capability to do exactly what they want with a thumb that they would with their full hand. There's a reason for that, because you are training yourself from birth to use your full hand to do everything, not just your thumb. So that's the reason. Anyway, physiologically aside, I do feel there is still a place for console esports, and especially if we want to get into the mainstream. The reason consoles exist is because of the casual 60-70% that we've spoken about already. Most people don't want to go out and buy a PC. Most people don't really care what GPU or CPU or SSDs or is it NVMe? I don't really care. Whatever, I'm not bothered. Can it play the games that look good and stored in my living room? And that's the casual. And that if you want esports to fully ingrain into that, then you kind of have to cater to that in some sort of way, which is what I did kind of like about the Fortnite plan. So the Fortnite World Cup was on PC last year, but they had like console elements of it this year. I can't remember what it was. We did cover it months ago, which I'm thinking, okay, that's really good, because you're never going to be a AAA esport at that level. Because there's too much RNG in the game and so on. I'd say that level, that's the League of Legends level. So rather than trying to just bust into that, trying to make it accessible to more people, which is what Epic has done with Fortnite throughout everything. We'll give you free tiers, we'll give you the free download of the game, we'll give you all these other games and stuff for free, and we'll give you access to our technology so you can use it in other games for free. Epic of making not just Fortnite, but the whole of Epic, Unreal and all that element accessible by doing that in the game itself. So having esports on the console, I do feel that there is definitely a need in that. A lot of esports purists will be like, well, it needs to be mouse and keyboard. Clearly, that's where everything big is. Yeah, but just because that's where everything big is doesn't mean that that's where it needs to remain. Because if that's the case, everyone watches the Football World Cup. So why would we watch the Fortnite World Cup? Because that's where all the viewers are right now. But if that was the argument, then just everyone would just watch football. No one would play video games. So progress would be more eyes on PC esports, but also more eyes on console esports and having ways into it from that way. So Valorant eventually hitting consoles, I could see being good. I mean, once again, bringing up PUBG because I'm on their dime. They pay me loads of money to mention it 27 times in every single show. They don't really, but they can do if they want. I'm just saying. PUBG is purely focused on PC esports and so on, but even PUBG has started to have a little bit more of a focus on consoles, not from an esports perspective, but from a content and community introduction, because they realise the inclusivity is good for the brand and everything else. But obviously, the longer point is that will be good for future esports too.
I mean, a show's just put a link in there to the keyboard adapter to be able to play on your Xbox and play PS4, and I'm fairly certain if you get caught using those, you get banned. I think that's in COD, like Warzone, and maybe PUBG. I know my brother uses mouse and keyboard on his Xbox when he's playing Fortnite.
You're allowed to.
He started to use that. Yeah, you're allowed to on Fortnite, but I don't think you're able to on the other FPS games. I'm sure you'll get banned if they find you using those things.
Yeah, so there's something called the ZIM or the XIM, which is I'll put right in the chat. ZIM. So there's something called that, which is basically the same thing as this. So what show's just linked through? Let me bring that up on the screen. So it's a mechanical keyboard and mouse that plugs into your console via plugging into your controller and stuff. And I believe. I did look into these to try to find out what the score was when cross-compatibility, cross-format got put into PUBG, and just Xbox players were insane. It turns out it was more to do with ping differential rather than the hardware that they were using, also, I believe. But some games allow you to use them, some don't. But there is something where I've seen, like, there is an official PlayStation-approved one. So I think it comes down to the actual games themselves. So Fortnite allows you to use your mouse and keyboard, and you can go into the settings, and on the PlayStation you can choose to whichever keyboard buttons, and you can just link up a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard. Job's good, pow. Whereas other games less so. So like the XIM essentially stealths your mouse and keyboard through a controller, so the game thinks you're playing on a controller, but you're actually using a mouse and keyboard. So it has profiles and stuff set up within it, and it doesn't translate directly. There might be some bugginess and some glitchiness to it, but yeah, that's when it starts to get dodged for me, because that is effectively cheating. If you're telling the game that you're using the controller and using the mouse and keyboard, then that's wrong. It absolutely is. There's no denying that there. Halo's going to be console esports rather than PC, even though it's also on that platform, and that's because that's where it came from. So yeah, same thing with Call of Duty and so on. If Halo was a PC game first, then it'd probably go the other way. And Fortnite went that way because that's where the viewership and that's where the streamers and that's where the content creators are, and they went from the top-down approach. So even though Fortnite probably had more players on consoles than on PC, all of the content creators and all of the people that can influence their brand were playing on PC. So they chased the influence rather than the community, which is understandable. But yeah, Halo is a console esport because it came from console. You rarely see a PC game that has a huge appeal on PC focus on console in their esports environment too. I'm just buzzing. Anyway, let's move on. We've gone down all the tangents. I mean, we're talking about Valorant on consoles. This is another one. Let's get rid of that. Speaking of consoles and esports and games that could take off on consoles, and being on PC. Let's look at the next bit of news, which suggests that a game that is on all of them and has console esports. GameFile suggests Call of Duty Warzone Season 4 will start on June the 10th. Which is just 2 days' time. The season was delayed in support of Black Lives Matter. This was written by Andy Robinson for VGC. Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare Season 4 looks set to start on Wednesday, June the 10th. Season 4 was due to start on June the 3rd. However, Call of Duty's upcoming Warzone and mobile seasons were delayed in support of anti-racism protests taking place across the globe. In a statement, publisher Activision said it wasn't the right time to debut new content. But according to Datamine game files uncovered by Twitter user via Modern Warzone, developer Infinite Ward has set Season 3's challenges to end on June the 10th UTC, which would suggest a delay of just 1 week for Season 4. Warzone Season 4 is set to add campaign star Captain Price as the season's flagship operator. Call of Duty Mobile Season 7 Radioactive Agent will expand the Battle Royale's game map when it launches. Earlier this week, developer Infinity Ward pledged to crack down on racist and hate-oriented Call of Duty user content after the Black Lives Matter movement highlighted racial inequality around the world. In a statement published on Wednesday, the developer acknowledged that it needed to do a better job at policing its community, despite claiming to issue thousands of daily bans for racist usernames. Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare have added an in-game message of support for the Black Lives Matter initiative. Don't think there's much to say on that one, really.
No.
Call of Duty
Warzone. PSA, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Call of Duty Warzone, the new season could launch as soon as Wednesday. So if you're interested and you've not finished your Battle Pass, Season Pass, whatever it's called. I haven't. I'm only about halfway through, but I was resigned to not finishing it months and months ago. But if you haven't finished it, make sure you do, because you've got 2 days left. So yeah, crack on. Anyway, jumping into the next bit of news then. This is an interesting one. EA Sports will provide the crowd noise for Premier League matches in the absence of live crowds. What?
There we go. Insert Man City has no fans anyway joke here.
Well, would do, but there's no one there to say it. Anyway, the Premier League is set to return on June the 17th. While the English Premier League has been providing entertainment in the age of social distancing, thanks to the E-Premier League Invitational Tournament played in FIFA, now that actual matches are returning to the FIFA field, FIFA is coming to the rescue again, with EA Sports providing crowd noises for Sky Sports in the absence of actual audience members in the seats. While other sporting events have replace crowds with cardboard cutouts, or in the case of one Korean baseball match, stuffed animals, the e-resilence can make games seem more like training exercises. Also, it's a lot harder to cover up all the swearing. And that's why, as the Sky Sports website explains, in partnership with EA Sports FIFA, Sky Sports has created a range of bespoke and team-specific crowd noises and chants to bring the vibrant atmosphere of the Premier League to the restart. Presumably, there will be an element of live control over the crowd noises to simulate responses to goals and penalties and whatnot. And currently, the plan is for the Premier League to restart on June the 17th after 3 months of shutdown, with Aston Villa versus Sheffield United and Man City versus Arsenal are the first 2 matches. It's all provisional at this stage, of course, thanks to Eurogamer for the league. Bib.
That last bit there, last bit got me a little bit. Presumably there will be an element of live control over the crowd noise to simulate responses to goals and penalties and whatnot. That bit tickles me because I can just imagine a bloke sat in a box somewhere and he's controlling or she controlling whatever the audio volume is and whatever buttons are going to be pressed for the different crowd noises. If he thinks it's a penalty and he presses the penalty button for the crowd to go, "Ref, it's a fucking penalty," will that influence the referee's decision to give the penalty?
Well, they've clearly. I'd imagine it's not going to be blaring out in the stadium, but imagine if it was. Or
it has to, because why else are they going to be putting it in there?
I just think like the way that stuff tends to work, and for those who don't know, I'll put it in a streamer context. Imagine a stream deck is, I don't know if you can see, mine doesn't stretch far enough to get onto camera. But imagine a stream deck is basically a pad with buttons. Most broadcast setups have basically bigger versions of stream decks. They're like the beat pads and stuff that with lit up lights, and you press to 1 to go to camera 1, camera 2, and so on. Or sound effect 1, sound effect 2. And just imagine if it hits the wrong button. Like the Marcus Rashford, fucking 80-yard backflip volley straight into the top corner, and the crowd goes, "Ooh!" and it's like, "What? What?" Or it goes, "Ooh, yeah!" Even. So Yeah, it's an interesting one to have someone sat there going, okay, make them sound happy now. Make them.
Yeah, I just thought there might be a way that they could be influencing the referee's decisions here, especially if they're putting out different different sounds for different occasions. Like if the referee calls something that's offside, are they going to be playing the referee as a wanker over the tannoy? I don't know. It's very weird. It's very weird. I don't understand why they would want to be able to put crowd noises, because I think that's just that. I think that's creepier than it being no noise. I understand that they probably want to try and get away from the swearing, but that's football. You go to any 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 11-a-side, kids football, there is swearing all over the gaff, and I think people have to expect that when it comes to it. I understand from a sponsorship standpoint they don't want people being called wankers live on TV, but this is 2020. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Swearing is an everyday part of life.
It is weird, but as the comments say in the chat, it's oddly not a new thing. Most big stadiums pump them out during tours and also massive games. This show, Asim says Camp Nou being one as well. WHL and City, and I think Emirates too. WHL,
White Hart Lane.
I was thinking like West Ham United. There we go, got that eventually. Influencing decisions there, so there's still a way to stop Liverpool winning the title. I'm in. Sold. Yeah, I think. I mean, it is weird. It is weird that there's a fake crowd, but then again, it's also not, because it happens on. You watch Friends and you hear canned laughter. Chandler said something funny. So from a broadcast perspective, it's technically not that weird. We're actually more. I think it's weird to think about, but it's not actually weird in practice. It happens probably more than West Ham United. Made me chuckle. You are welcome.
That's a proper Pez name, that, isn't it? West Ham United.
So yeah, it happens more than people are aware of. So in that sense, it's not that odd. I think the scale of it though is what makes it odd, because you can just imagine like Soundman Dave sat there in his little box pushing the
that's what I mean. It's so weird. It'd be like a pantomime or something.
But just imagine like
he's behind you, man on.
Asim said, WheelstoneRadio.gif, you got shit phones.
but there was another thing as well. Like, did you see? I can't remember what German football club was. It a German football club where people could send pictures of themselves in, and they'll put them in the crowd. And people just can't be trusted, because there was sending pictures like Harold Shipman and shit like that, and he was in the stand. But Bateson responded to one as well, didn't they? Because I think someone sent a picture of him in.
Oh, seriously?
So there's just a picture of him in the stand. I'll see if I can quickly find the tweet. I was pissing myself.
That is incredible. I didn't know about the Bateson one. I knew about the Harold Shipman one. I'm thinking, fuck, but that's incredible. But yeah, you absolutely know there's gonna be clips. If they have reactive sound, if it's just a bed of audio, then that's a bit naff. If they have immersive sound where someone reacts to free kick goals and whatever, you just know someone in the box or whatever, the audio box. And let's be full on stereotyping here. From my history, when we've done esports events or football esports events, a lot of the technical guys aren't interested in football. They might be interested in games, but they're not bothered about football. So they kind of like, oh. So let's say if that happens and we've got 20 games, multiple instances of like big action moments in 20 games, some of them could be missed. You full on expect Bleacher Report or Paddy Power or someone to have a clip where Aguero opens his body up, scores a scream from the edge of the box, and the crowd just remain like, and then shit, fuck, score, crap, and Aguero's pretty much halfway back to the centre circle, and the crowd go, yeah! But I want to see this.
He's at the very back in the middle.
So the tweet says, wait, is that actually me from Bateson? Yo, I didn't know Bateson was a Mönchengladbach fan. Top row in the middle. That's fucking incredible.
It's mad, that, isn't it?
Oh, wonderful. GG, that fan.
Like underneath the tweet, and then someone just put like the circled NRL reviewing cardboard cutout screening process after serial killer slip up, and there's just a picture of Harold Shipman in the crowd. It's mad. Like, people just can't be trusted.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Come back on. Fucking Harold Shipman just sat there. Is that what's he? Is that a Raiders top? Oh, it's the NRL. Yeah. Is that a dog next to it as well?
Hey, it's a dog too. I didn't see that. Oh my god, I didn't see that. Well done.
Doggy! Yeah!
Oh god. Nice class.
On that excitement, let's calm it down. Let's get back in the game. I don't even remember what we were actually talking about before that.
Crowd noises.
Oh, that's
in
what
Premier League matches. Oh, that's sick. What Chucky's just put in there. I'd definitely smash one of them behind the net, though.
There was a Danish team that used fans calling in with Zoom, showing on giant screens in the stands. Class. Can we just submit video/sound clips of Shaw delivering cheesy chat lines asking for a friend? And he slides that one in right there. By the way, let's put this on. It's going to be full screen. Okay, we'll watch a little bit of it because I don't want to get done. Whoa, that's loud. How cool is that, though? All just sat watching at home.
That's quality, innit? I imagine how much. Well, I mean, the money's probably not that much of a problem, but imagine having to set all that up. Like, imagine how much that would cost to be able to do that. Not the Zoom call thing, because that's a piece of piss, but having screens all the way around the stands. That's it.
Imagine if you got one of those guys that thought he'd turned his camera off, just walks off, grabs a tube full of hand lotion kind of stuff, comes back with a box of tissues. Dave! Fuck! But anyway. Do you know what? I do have another article, but I'll leave it till tomorrow. I only included it because it came out just before we went live. It was about the Harry Potter RPG. There's been a link on that, but we'll feature it in tomorrow because we're already over an hour in this one. There's no rush for it now, so we'll include that one in then. But we are going to drop things off now because obviously, we've got Masters of the League and we've just seen some football stuff and it's just whet my appetite, so I need to get out and get back in again, mate. Yeah, mate. So yes, everyone, thank you very much for being here through the news. For those of you that missed the show or have just dropped in now, Animal Crossing is no longer the best-selling game on the Nintendo eShop. It's been usurped by Minecraft Dungeons. Riot is prototyping Valorant on consoles, but only if it's certain that the port can deliver the experience as well. Game files suggest that Call of Duty Warzone Season 4 will start on June the 10th, which is Wednesday. And then finally, EA Sports will provide the crowd noise for Premier League matches in the absence of live crowds. A bit of a wide selection of news there, so nice. But we are going to finish things now, though. We are going to drop off and jump straight back on with episode 10, maybe 11 of Masters of the League. For those of you who don't know what that is, we are playing through a modded Master League on Pro Evolution Soccer on PC. So we've got new scoreboards, we've got new player faces, tattoos, and all sorts of other nice things in there. We've just finished the January transfer window, and we have a big push towards the end of the season to see if we can get to the top of the league. So if you're not doing anything, then feel free to stick around and jump back in. As like I say, we'll go offline, finish this stream, get the green screen and stuff set up, and then we'll jump back on for a few hours of Masters of the League. So if you're not busy, jump in. But before we do that, before we disappear to go and set all that up, Mr. Biberino, would you like to add anything to the show?
Yes, I would. If you do see any video game information, news, reviews, or anything like that you want to put your voice to, then do feel free to hit us up on the chat box. That isn't working. That isn't part of the speech. But yeah, if you want to go and find us on social media, which you can find at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, then do feel free to do that. But you can also contact myself, which is at We've Got a Beanie. Graham. At Graham_day on Twitter as well. Chatbot is booting up, so you can find it in a second. But you can get us on Discord as well. That'll be live any second now, and you can just go on there, drop in your news, reviews, put your comments to it, and we'll feature your thoughts and impressions in the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m.
Ish.
Ish. One day he's going to ask Bibby if he wants to add something. He's just going to say, no, mate.
Nah, see, mate, I'm always switched on.
I did that so many times, broadcasting with ASBYT, aka Adam Butcher. We'd be like, Graham, so we are done for today's show. Is there anything you'd like to add? And I go, no. And I go, okay. It's one of those things that, like, if you're working like in a professional studio environment, when someone asks you that, it's not just because they want to ask you that. Usually it's because they're being given instructions or something, or they've got to do something off camera themselves. So I go, no, knowing that it throws back to him and he's like, okay. So yeah, there you go, proper dick. But I'm a dick and you know that. That's why you watch. Anyway, have yourselves a lovely day, ladies and gentlemen. And as Chucky has said, and as Fatman Dave has said, we have an exclusive emote for when we finish our shows. And if you don't know what it is, stay frosty.